The Rugby World Cup is familiar territory for Romania, who have taken part in all 6 of the previous tournaments. But history has played a major part in its trials and tribulations as a rugby nation. Under the post-war communist regime, sporting success was deemed essential, and rugby was a favoured sport. At its peak, there were over 12,000 players. The top clubs trained full-time, and the star performers rewarded with the trappings of luxury denied to the vast majority of the population.
Under the communist state, it was a sport for men. If it was a sport for men, it was the sport for the communist people. I think that in that era, it was professional, because if you played for the national team, you didn't have to go to work for 8 or 12 hours a day. You'd go to training for an hour and a half, and after that you were free. You could also go and play in different countries. And this was the professional life of the Romanian rugby player. Under the communists, everyone wanted to become a rugby player, and they implemented the sport through the schools in a big way that made everybody take an interest.
But in 1989, everything changed. With the overturn of the communist regime came an acute shortage of funding for sport and a consequent drop in standards. A once powerful, dominant side, the Oaks, as they are nicknamed, became the whipping boys of the rugby world.
It was a very difficult time. There were big teams like Steaua, who were the team of the army, Dinamo, who were the team of the police. There were teams like Cluj, Timișoara, Constanta. The communists put lots of money into these teams, and after the revolution we lost the money, and the people's interest instead turned to football. Then in 1995, when the rugby world turned professional, we fell behind, because after the revolution it took us 10 years to recover. We're now in the developing stage, and in 10 or 15 years we hope to be near the powerful teams like those in the Six Nations.
The future and growth of the game in Romania are now in the hands of a new generation, and centred around men like Petrarchi, who represented his country in the 1999 Rugby World Cup, and he's fully focused on winning back the public support for the game.
This year we'll have Stade Francais from France, Leeds from England and Parma from Italy coming to play here in Romania. And that's why we're starting to play in the different regions of Romania, to show the people that rugby means everything. It means love, passion, fair play, it means everything. So we have to show them what rugby stands for. I think it's good to have games on TV and show people that rugby never dies. And hopefully our government will help us financially to get to the World Cup in New Zealand.
And his mission to spread the rugby gospel to the masses continued at the weekend, when the city of Buzău, 2 hours' drive from Bucharest, was chosen to host their World Cup playoff against Tunisia. The last time a Romanian international was staged here was back in 1983 against Italy. Another former player, Romeo Gontineac, has recently taken charge of the Romanian team. A veteran of 4 World Cups himself, he knows firsthand how much it means to compete in rugby's showcase event.
It's a very important competition, and that's why I keep saying to them that it is vital to keep concentrating in order to win these matches. It will mean a lot to reach our 7th consecutive World Cup, and it will be a big step forward for the progression of Romanian rugby.
The citizens of Buzău had turned up in large numbers, taking advantage of any possible viewing point to make the most of the international match taking place on their doorstep. With their president watching hopefully from the stands alongside thousands of home fans, the Romanian team certainly weren't lacking support. They led 9-6 thanks to the boot of Dan Dumbrava, but it wasn't until the 21st minute that the Tunisian defence was finally breached. Centre Ionut Dimofti scoring their opening try. That seemed to open up the floodgates. The Oaks running in 2 more tries to lead by 30 points to 6 at half-time. Honour and passion were the least the crowd expected, and they weren't disappointed. A penalty try was followed by 2 more touchdowns, including this one by flanker Daniel Janus. The young Tunisian side, many of whom have played with distinction in the IRB Sevens World Series, did get something to cheer about when flanker Yosri Souguir scored arguably the try of the match after some sublime handling. But Christian Petre completed the route for the hosts, and so they will now face Uruguay in a two-leg playoff in November for the final spot in the 2011 Rugby World Cup.
There are only 2 games between us and the World Cup. We will do our very best and we will give it everything from our body and soul to win the matches against Uruguay so we can qualify for the World Cup in New Zealand.